I think basically, for a long time, African voices have not been done. We've seen others talk in the place of African citizens. So I think this is a clear example that let the people talk. I think that's a byline of the Afrobarometer. Let the people speak, let the people talk. I found it extremely interesting about data about Africa, because we've been talking a lot over the couple of years about the need for data about Africa and telling the African story. So I think a lot of the conversations that we've had and the insights we've had talked about this deficit in supply side of democracy, because for a long time we've been talking about what Africans believe or think about democracy, and today we realize that there is a deficit in supply side. Coming from Mauritius, I was surprised but not surprised as well that this is a country that witnessed one of the most dramatic declines, 40% in satisfaction towards democracy. Democracy lighthouse for many, many decades, and suddenly we now see that drop in satisfaction. So I think this is something that we need to pay attention and very clear attention and understand why behind. I have my own understanding why, but I think we need to sort of use evidence to start and correct some of the anomalies or deficiencies around democracy, and I think this is the opportunity to do so. So yes, the case of Mauritius speaks to me, and also Botswana, another performant democracy. We always talk about democracy as a very open-ended concept, but we need to debunk democracy so that people understand really what democracy means and the value that they have towards it. And it was clear in today's report that the Africans, value democracy, because 66% of citizens on the continent support the idea of democracy. So it's a bit of a fallacy to say that democracy doesn't matter for the African citizens. I think what is pertinent to my work is about the absence of supply side, because governments or people who get elected very often think that once they are elected, they can have, they can go unquestionable or unaccountable, or there's a sense of impunity that settles in. And I think this is not the case, because people, as you said, are willing to take to the streets, are willing to not tolerate those types of governance mishaps. Well, it's been 25 years that Afrobarometer is out there, and I think what's so important for me is that it is an African-driven and owned and rooted data set. I think we have been talking a lot about decolonizing knowledge and decolonizing content about Africa, and this is a perfect example where ownership of the data is from the continent and rooted in the continent. So for me, it makes perfect sense that the data about Africa and the telling of the story about Africa is through Afrobarometer.